before I came to study hypnotherapy, I was working as a surgical technologist and operator, basically setting up surgical operations and passing instruments for the surgeon. And I did that for about 9 years, and I've been doing that. And I always wanted to have a more direct contact with clients and patients. And working with counseling was always my first love. I did that so that I could make it through college and pay bills and things like that. So I'm currently studying, working on my master's in mental health counseling, and I found that several of the, a couple of the professors and even the head of the department had hypnotherapy as a credential. And I found this out about when I started, which was over a year ago. And I looked at that and I thought, hypnotherapy, that's different. And prior to that, I had read about Anton Mesmer and Franz Anton Mesmer and all the different things that he was studying about how the humans respond within their environment and how the mind affects everything. And so it was just a stepwise process that led me up to, I saw that, this professor has it and this person's the head of the department, and they have a lot of credentials, work with a lot of different things, and they've been very successful, a lot of clients and patients. So I thought, okay. And then I stumbled upon the website. Just one day I was searching and I said, the website just stood out to me. The wording, exact wording matched my daily affirmations at the time. Word for word. It was, I choose to be healthy, happy, and prosperous.
Yeah.
And it was in the mission statement that we want our graduates to be healthy, happy, and prosperous. And we stand for our graduates being healthy, happy, and prosperous, being agents of positive change in the world. So when I saw that, I said, whoa. Yeah. I mean, like for weeks I've been saying this affirmation, and then this just happened to come about. And so it was a stepwise process. I was determined, optimistic, and I have been successful in getting here, doing the coursework, getting to learn so many things, so many wonderful techniques that have been extremely helpful in healing in my life. And I'm looking forward to sharing those with those in the world outside, around me. The first week I got here, I kept probably for the entire week, I was still saying, wow, I made it. First of all, when I got here, I did have an expectation that there were certain things that were going to be done, but the structure of the class was so much different. The interaction, there was constant moments of epiphany, like wow, I mean, constantly. And I can't say that I've had any course of study that's matched that. Usually it's, okay. Here it was like, wow. The information was just so, it was empirical. So you had research that was backing it up. You have, things that I've studied in mainstream psychology and mainstream counseling that were being repeated and even gone even more in depth, like some of the work behind it and some of the things that are not spoken of but are supported and are, researched in the mainstream community. So I saw that, I said, well, this is a great interface between what is, complementary medical assistance and complementary medical support and mainstream medical literature and things like that. So I said, whoa, this is really great. This is really what I'd like to have as a tool, as a counselor, because I can use this in addition to the mainstream work I'm doing, and it won't conflict. There won't be a conflict. It's a great melding of the two, and I think it's a wonderful balance. So constant moments of epiphany, saying, wow, that's why they said this, and that's the reason that this happened, and whoa, this makes sense now, and oh, I thought about that yesterday when I read this, So there was just constantly that, and so for me it was just really wonderful, euphoric experience, and constantly feeling, epiphany after epiphany after epiphany. So a lot of self-work. I've gotten into myself a lot through this. Initially, I thought, I still had these old ideas that, you're going to go in and then you're going to be, gone, and someone's going to be, leading your mind or something. And it was more like, oh, wait, I have choice over this, everything. And so I just said, you know what, I choose to experience this more fully and get the benefit out of it. And epiphany after epiphany, wonderful experience after wonderful experience. One of the experiences I had when we were working on CPRMs, And I was actually scared for a week because, the emotional work, and I'm not so comfortable crying in front of people. And I was able to address some really deep-seated emotional issues that I had that I was not aware of for years. Was not even aware of, and it helped me to approach and understand why certain patterns are taking place in my life, why I'd chosen certain experiences, and why I had replicated certain experiences over and over and over again. And I started to see the me that was alive and optimistic and determined to accomplish something that was inside my heart that I always wanted to do. Instead of, for years, I had been creating a situation in which I would take what I desired and wanted to accomplish, and then I would find a way of putting it out way, way out there and putting so many things in between it, like, what I had been doing previously, surgical technology. So I wanted to do counseling. I wanted to work with people, and I wanted to discover more of myself and become the highest version of who I am. And so instead of doing that immediately, as for years I decided, I'm supposed to struggle. Mm-hmm. So let me just put, who I am and who I desire to be way out here and put all of these impediments in the way, so that I can struggle, so that when I do finally get there, I'll feel like I deserve it. So I've struggled and suffered enough to make it. And I realized I don't have to do that. There was a point in my life when that was not necessary at all. When I wanted something, I said, okay, what do I need to get it? And then I followed the steps and achieved it just like that. It felt like it was immediate, because I just was focusing on where I was. But then I said, you know what? That's just too easy. Life can't be that easy. I've got to make it struggle. I've got to make it suffering. So I found ways to make that happen. And in that CPRM session, I realized why I was doing that and who I was trying to associate, what the secondary gain or negative payoff was. The terminology from coursework. Yeah. So realizing that, I said, wow, there was a legitimate need that I needed to meet. And that was a need for accomplishment and the need to feel like a worthy of something that I wanted in life. And so in order to do that, I created struggle so I could feel worthy. That was that was a need, a legitimate need. And so I found a not so positive way of meeting that need. So I realized that, and I started to see where those problems were in life, and then there was an expansion of understanding of myself, of those around me, my perception of the world, and how I can change that to my own benefit and to the benefit of those around me. Well, what I really loved and appreciated about Tim was his humor and also his focus, because he likes to stay with the topic, remain punctual, all of that stuff. It's super important. And I just like the fact that he was able to stay on topic, keep things focused, and lead to the next level. Provide the challenge for us, outside of staying on topic and things like that, to go to the next level, to be objective, empirical, scientific about what we're looking at. Yes, a lot of what we do is quote-unquote intuitive or subjectively designed, but it's super important to remain scientific and empirical, because we're interfacing with the mainstream medical, counseling, psychoanalytic community, and I think it's so important to remain objective and be able to speak the language of the professionals with which we're working. We're complementary, and so we're there to be an assistance, not to take over and to do all this stuff that really we're not trained to do. Our job is to maintain a focus, stay scientific, and be an assistance, a complement to what already is happening in the medical community, in the medical field, which is wonderful and amazing and miraculous, really. Angela has a very a loving and very passionate and precious presence as an instructor, but also a focus, also a seriousness about maintaining a certain status, with the information, and making sure that things are done in a way that are most effective. I know with creating suggestions, what about this word? This may be more effective in making sure the client understands where you're coming from, but really more important that we understand where the client is coming from. Does this work for the client? Does this phrasing work for the client? Stay with the client. Allow the client to lead the session, because that's what we're here. We're here to be coaches, more or less. And the client, is a co-therapist, really a co-coach in a sense. They help to guide us, to guide their healing. So it's a mutually reciprocal process, and Angela was really great about making sure that that was taking place and just being there, and also very considerate and very encouraging presence as well. Just, okay, thank you for that comment, or could you share, read this part of this part of the outline, and listening to thoughts and taking impressions. And that was wonderful. Just the positive energy and the very youthful energy as well that both Tim and Angela bring to the table is wonderful. So it keeps it's fun, but it's still very serious. We still stay focused. But it's a nice balance, a nice compliment. So I could appreciate that about both instructors. Watching the demonstration, see one, do one, teach one, that idea we have in the yoga, see one, do one, teach one. Seeing the demonstration that Tim or Angela or one of the other coaches is doing was one way of learning it. Mm-hmm. And then reading the script and then practicing the script you get, I understood it 5 times more than if I just read it the night before by watching. And then I understood it about 10 times more than that when I was able to watch a fellow student do it. And then I was able to study 100 times more when I did it myself.
And then you were guided with the coach.
Exactly. And then the coach was there to guide and be an assistant as well. Just guiding me through that process. That just took it to a whole nother level. I don't think there's anything in the world that can replace the actual hands-on practice. Nothing in the world. You can read it, you can watch it, but actually being able to practice it with someone and actually getting the feedback from the coach, seeing what you're doing, and then your co-therapist or client saying in return, this helped. That was wonderful. And then the coach saying, that was great. How about trying this as well? How about adding this to it to improve and even expand the work that you're already doing? So that was awesome.